Good morning. How's everybody this morning? Have you guys heard of a program called Snack Pack for Kids? Beyond what's in your bulletin. Let me just see a show of hands. Who all's heard of Snack Pack for Kids? Do we have any teachers or people that work in schools here? Raise your hand. 18 months ago, you would have never heard of Snack Pack for Kids because it wasn't available in Amarillo for our children. In fact, Amarillo was the only city west of Dallas that didn't offer a program like Snack Pack for Kids. And so what is it? It's a bag of food that goes in a child's backpack for the weekend because that child lives in a food insecure situation for those 66 hours. When they have lunch on Friday until breakfast Monday morning, that's 66 hours where a lot of children are worried about what they're going to have to eat. So back in 1995, this program was started in Little Rock, Arkansas. There's over 3,000 programs like this in the country, but 18 months ago, we didn't have a thing like this. And my wife and I had started this 6 years ago when we lived in Flower Mound, based on a show we saw on Nightline. There was a teacher in Bowie, Texas, and she had a child licking his plate in the cafeteria, a kindergartner, and he's licking his plate at the cafeteria, and the kids are making fun of him. And she's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? And she did a little homework and figured out this child was hungry over the weekend. Got with her church and started a program called Backpack Buddies. At the end of that Nightline story, she said two things, and it resonated with me because I grew up in Clarendon and I grew up with these kids. She said, if you don't think this is going on in your community, take your blindfold off and see. And the other thing she said is, I don't know how I can eat another bite knowing that these kids are going hungry. Well, I went down to the elementary school right around the corner from where I lived, and there was 100 children that principal, she had saw the same story and said, we need this at our school. When I moved back here, having grown up out here, I asked the same question when I got back here. Do we have this program? And we did not. Labor Day weekend, 2010, we started feeding 10 kids at Rogers Elementary. This weekend, 2,150 kids in AISD alone went home with this bag of food in their backpack, thanks to the generosity of our community, churches, businesses, leaders in our community. And the reason that we knew these kids are hungry is because their teachers, principals, cafeteria workers, counselors, social workers knew they were hungry. And they knew their situation. And so we partnered to say, how do we do this, and how do we do this in a very discreet manner? So this bag of food is assembled by volunteers. We get together every other Tuesday night at a warehouse that's been generously donated by three businessmen, Jim Austin, Charlie Graham, and Jerry Webb. And we had over 200 people there 2 weeks ago. We'll pack bags again this Tuesday night. We'll probably have another 200. We assemble these bags, and they are very discreetly placed in the kids' locker or backpack on Friday. The last thing these children need is to be embarrassed, to be singled out, to be scrutinized about why they're hungry. And then their sibling also takes a bag. So let's say we have a 4-year-old child that's not in school yet. That child takes a bag home for himself and his sibling. And it's one of those things where you do all this and you wonder, does it make a difference? Do we really see a difference? And I want to read you two stories. One I read last night, and then one that I got last night when I got home on my Facebook page. Anybody on Facebook? Facebook can be good and it can be challenging. In this case, it was very, very exciting to read a story. But I want to read you a story I got from a counselor. Everybody know where Tradewin Elementary School is? Less than 5 years ago, this school was built. They started with 300 kids. Tammy Smith, the counselor there, wrote me this letter November 15th, 2011. And she said, we have a lot of families who are struggling to provide food and shelter for their kids. When I heard of Snack Pack for Kids, I realized what a great resource this would help our kids who go home on the weekends with very little food to eat. She says, I can specifically remember one child in particular that has really struggled with coming to school ready to learn on Mondays. Each Monday, he would be very irritable, disruptive in the class, and often end up in the office. One Monday, when he was in the office eating his lunch, we observed him eating an apple. He ate it ravenously, core and all. We decided that we needed to look into Snack Pack for Kids. I met with Snack Pack for Kids, and they generously gave us some bags to send home for a few of our children on the weekends. She said the next Monday after the first bag was sent, I went into the classroom to check on him. This kid is a first grader, by the way. He was sitting quietly and was on task. I sat down in the chair to visit with the teacher, and he came over to me and he laid his head on my shoulder and softly whispered, "I'm having a good day." It has now been 3 Mondays since we sent this first bag, and he continues to have good days. Now what happens is that child gets labeled troublemaker, disruptive, no one wants to play with him, no one wants to be around him. And yet the only reason that he was behaving this way is because of hunger. And yet he was too embarrassed, too ashamed, and this is at first grade, to tell someone, "I'm hungry and I need help." And they had to see this to figure this out. Last night I got home and I'd met this lady last Friday. I was at this program. This isn't even my real job. I have a real job where I do something totally different. And I was at this program last Friday night, and she comes up to me afterward, and we were talking about something else, and she said, "You know that program you started? I was one of these kids almost 17 years ago." She's now her and her husband own a very successful construction business here. She went to dental hygienist school, but she said, this is what she posted on Facebook last night. I had no idea she was going to do this. She said, "This program truly touches me." Her name is Shiloh. She lives here in Amarillo. "As a young child, I have many memories of what it's like to be hungry over the weekends. I dreaded the weekends because I wasn't certain how much I would have to eat or if I'd have anything to eat at all. My heart goes out to these precious children. I can relate to what it's like to go to school on Mondays with hunger pains. School for me was more of a place to be fed, not to go and to learn. I believe this program is making a huge difference in these children's lives. It's not only filling their tummies, but it's giving them hope and strength." David, I appreciate you letting me tell the story of these children. It is real, but it is hidden. And if we take our blindfold off, we can truly make a difference in these kids' life. I appreciate it. Thank you.